Hey guys, Marauder here, and welcome back to Battlestations Pacific Series. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We're not going to be playing the campaign, we're actually going to be playing a Skirmish Mode, which is just basically a multiplayer mode, but you're playing against the computer. So today we're going to be playing Island Capture. We're going to go ahead and make the enemy difficulty Veteran. And we're going to go ahead and pick a map. I really don't know what map we should do here. Leyte looks pretty cool. Let's do Leyte. Command points, we're gonna do 1200, just as long as no time limit victory points. We'll do 5,000. Naval supplies. I disable the naval supplies just because I like this to be as close to what Battlestations Midway multiplayer was. And naval supplies are just like bonuses that are located on the map when you capture a certain base. Tactical map, I enable that, and reload payload, I turn that to off. That way the planes actually have to go back and land to rearm their bombs. So there's that. Unlockable unit, what do we got here? I'm gonna go ahead and do the Alaska class. Actually, no, we're gonna do the P-51 Mustang, actually. So we're gonna do the P-51 Mustang just so we can hold the skies. Alright, so here we go, guys. We're just gonna start this up really quick. Again, guys, this is the Skirmish Mode Island Capture. This is like their biggest multiplayer mode that was in the game. The objective is just to go around to capture the islands, depending on the map and depending on the size of the map you pick. There may be different amount of islands. I think this one only has a couple. And the more islands you hold, the more points you gain, and the faster you gain them. And I set it to 5,000, so the first side to 5,000 capture points wins the match. So you can win it that way, or you can actually win it by just destroying all the other team's HQs. Alright, so here we go. So we got one shipyard. Gonna go ahead and send out some light cruisers. Then we're gonna go ahead and send out some P-51 Mustangs. We're gonna switch to our other aircraft carrier. And we're gonna send out, oof. Damn, we're gonna send out some of those too. Couple destroyers, and then the lab we'll just do. And there we go. Alright, guys, so this map is basically, it's gonna be an interesting map. I don't think I've ever really played this map before. I never played a lot of Battlestations Pacific multiplayer, just never really got into it because it just wasn't what I was expecting. Coming off of Midway, and didn't have that magical charm that I thought Midway had. I was really a big fan of Midway's multiplayer and the way that each map was like a different story and just different objectives. And whereas this game mode is basically the same thing, you just go around and capture the islands. No matter what the map is, it's just basically the same. Alright, so we just got a bunch of fighters in the air. I don't know what the computer does, honestly. It seems like the computer just has like the same tactic. Does the same tactic depending on the map. It's like every map, it seems like they have a different tactic, and I don't think I've ever played this map, so I don't know what their tactic is going to be. But I can tell you what my tactic is going to be. It's just going to be up here. We're just going to capture this one, then we're going to go around and capture this one. And who knows, I mean, this thing could just turn into a big ring around the rosy here. I know if we were playing against actual human opponents, that's probably what it would turn into. But when we're playing against the computer, like I said, I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm gonna just send a fighter squadron off here to just scout and see what's going on, because they are coming from this side. They probably have the same thing as us, two carriers and then a naval yard to launch ships from. So we'll see what we got going on here. As you can see, we got our victory points up at the top. I really don't know how the Japanese have more victory points than us right now, figuring how we have... Ooh, we got kamikaze planes coming in now. So we gotta watch out for them. See, they're really tiny on the map, so they're kind of hard to see. But these things were added in Battlestation Pacific. These types of planes weren't in Midway. And these planes will do a hell of a lot of damage if you let them hit your boats. Or your ships, I should say. Wow, it just looks like they launched a boatload of... Hey, but I mean, you know what? That'll be interesting if this whole game is just going to be me defending against. Okay, I mean, the thing I do like, I can tell you, is it is nice to be able to launch planes or ships without having to actually be on that aircraft carrier or that shipyard in particular. I mean, that is very helpful. But like at the same time, I do not like that they just spawn in midair off from the aircraft carrier. I do not like that, because again, I think that just takes away from the magic that was Midway. Alright, so guys, I just put everybody into a big formation here. I do like this formation. It looks pretty nice. This was just the automatic formation that it did. It's a pretty nice formation. It's pretty cool. Got 4 light cruisers, 3 destroyers. We just gotta be very, very careful of these kamikazes. Like I said, I really don't know how they just keep growing in points. 'Cause we have the same amount of bases, but they're just pulling away in points. Very interesting. Alright guys, so as you can see the difference, this is a supply base right here, and this with the little orange ring around it is a headquarters. So this one probably has a shipyard I can launch. Yep, it does. It has a shipyard I can probably launch ships from, whereas this one is just a base. I can't launch anything from it. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take these Corsairs. Going to do a little more scouting, just see what's going on. And these guys are equipped with rockets. The only bummer is that these rockets, since I did turn reload payload off, these rockets won't reload over time. Alright, so they are just sending more kamikazes. I mean, it looks like that's what's going to be the main... They're kamikazing the headquarters. That's pretty interesting because it's not owned. I guess they're just trying to make it easier to capture, but they're not going to get there in time. Alright, I'm just going to make sure that these Mustangs are circling around the convoy here. Just because of these kamikaze planes. Alright, we are almost in capture radius. I'm going to go ahead and manually control this guy just to make sure I get inside the capture radius of this supply base. As you can see, guys, it's right there. We just lost a squadron, so I'll go ahead and launch him back up again. And then I'll send him back. Alright, so now that he... Go ahead and slow him down a little bit. Wait until this guy captures this base fully. gonna send these Mustangs in to get these kamikazes that are coming in. So honestly, it looks like it's going to be a match where the computer is just gonna launch up planes the entire time. Which is one of the things I wish they would have done better in this, is that, you know, you're gonna put in a skirmish mode. Well, at least make sure the skirmish mode is halfway interesting. And not, you know, have the computer at least be, you know, use different tactics. But again, since this game didn't have the biggest following, you know, and it is a pretty niche group of people that played Midway and were even going to play this one, the budget, you know, wasn't going to be ginormous on this game. Alright, so we've almost captured this. We're going to get home, get going here. I'm going to start turning here. We lost a fighter. We lost all of our fighters. I'm going to go ahead and launch them all back up again. We lost those fighters fairly quick. Wonder what got us. Because we do have Mustangs. Alright, so we've got this one, guys. We're going to continue on here up the coast, and we're going to grab this headquarters. And then I believe from this headquarters you will be able to launch heavy cruisers. However, I don't think the computer is launching any ships, so I'm not really going to have to worry about launching any heavy cruisers. I am, however, going to keep my formation together here. I'm not going to send ships out on their own, mainly because there are those kamikaze planes out there. And the more ships together means the more flat guns we have to shoot them down. Oh, looks like we're getting a little shallow there. Now, if this was actual real life, the ship would not be able to travel in such shallow water. But since this is a video game, anything is possible. Alright, looks like they got more Judies coming in. And this is what I'm telling you guys. I mean, this is back to just the computer. I mean, the computer obviously knows that I've got a formation of ships. Those Judies are flying relatively low, which is interesting since that is a dive bomber. I mean, you want to fly those high normally. There they are, again, the kamikazes. Now, the kamikaze planes do a lot of damage in the game. However, they are very easy to shoot down to balance that out. So, looks like now they might just be trying to find our carriers. Get our planes back circling again. Now, I'd really love if somebody, some developer and publisher, you know, would attempt to do this again. You know, make this type of game again. As, in my opinion, the Pacific fighting in World War II was some of the most amazing fighting, but I'm not using amazing as in, like, it was just, I mean, it was cool, but it was also harsh and rugged and just some of the worst fighting of the war. And, you know, so few games have actually like have tried to or have explored the Pacific theater of war. You know, everybody's played D-Day. Everybody knows what D-Day is. You'd be hard pressed not to find anybody that knows what D-Day is. Alright, so we can launch the York class heavy cruiser from that new base that we just captured. However, we're not going to need to, like I said, because it doesn't look like they're launching any planes whatsoever. Alright, what we are going to do, though, is I am going to bring these carriers now up for two reasons. One, they don't have any ships, so I don't really have to worry about ship combat. And two, I need a shorter distance for my planes to travel, because they're probably going to be getting shot down a lot here as we get closer to their base. And I don't want them to be having to travel long distances. But again, guys, back to the Pacific theater of war. Like I said, not too many games have done it. There was a game a long time ago, back on the original Xbox, and it probably did come out on the PS2 as well. But it was called Medal of Honor Rising Sun. And that game, I believe, started at Pearl Harbor and went all the way through to, I don't know where it actually ended, what battle it ended at. But that game was actually interesting because it was just a newer take on World War II. And of course, at that time, there was World War II games, but there wasn't the amount that we ended up getting, you know, today. Back in the 360, back in these, you know, the early 360 days, where it just seemed like every war game that was coming out was World War II. And yes, you know, everybody got sick and tired of the World War II games, but now it seems like, me personally, I'm just getting sick and tired of futuristic war games or modern warfare type games. I'd really love to see the new technology and go back and explore these battles that actually took place, and actually, you know, playing them and learning about them is actually something that's, you know, very helpful and just very knowledgeable, because it's something that actually took place, and it took place for a good cause. Alright, so it does look like they're going to go ahead and they're going to start bombing my supply base here. Not really all too concerned about that again. We've already got more points than them, and we're already well on our way to finding their carriers, sinking them, and then just destroying their headquarters. Now there was recently Gearbox, the head of Gearbox, what's his name? Randy Pitchford, I think his name is. He did say that, you know, they are in early stages of developing a new Brothers in Arms game, which is normally set in World War II, and I would assume the new one would be set in World War II as well. For those of you who don't know who Brothers in Arms is, Brothers Arms, it's a World War II game, but it's a more strategic World War II game. It's slower paced. It's not like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield. It's more of a thinking shooter where you got to think about your movements and think about where you want to position your men at. And who knows? I mean, maybe that'll be the first game to usher in going back to World War II. Get some flak up, see if I can get those planes, but they look like they might be, they're 1.2 miles out. I think they might be too far. We do have our Mustangs engaging. Oh, looks like we got some ship action going on here finally. Of course, these are probably their carriers. Got a little bit too excited there, I think. Oh, no, we're not. We got a destroyer. Alright. Took a long enough time. The computer's acting like some of the people you find in multiplayer games. They only want to play. They don't want to use the cool unit. You know, whereas the Kamikaze's like that cool brand new unit, and the computer just wants to use it. Forget about using anything else. Whether or not you're winning or losing, to hell with it. We're just gonna Kamikaze everything. Alright, we got some ship action. It took long enough, guys. And I was beginning to think that we weren't going to get any ship action at all in this game. Alright guys, so we are coming up on this Fubuki class destroyer. What we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and turn broadside. You always want to be broadside when approaching an enemy ship like this, because you can get all your guns located right on them. Because if you're able to fire all your guns and he's not able to fire all of his guns, that is just more power to you. Alright, so it looks like all they're launching though is destroyers. That's okay though. We should be able to pick those things off relatively easy. The first one is down. Do we have a fire on board? We're going to go ahead and put that out. Ooh, looks like I just hit the magazine on him. Alright guys, so we could just continue to go ahead and destroy these destroyers, and they can just keep launching. We can destroy them all day, but we're going to actually just go ahead and pull in here and just bombard their aircraft carrier and everything like that, because there's just honestly not much more they could do. Now, we have 3 planes here. Where's our other plane at? Oh, there they are. So they waited too long to launch their ships, in my opinion. To where I was already past their island, past the main island, and well on my way to their base. And they're not even going to take their ships to even engage mine. So I really don't even know what the computer's thinking right now. Which is a bummer, because this is on veteran. It's the hardest difficulty, and yet they play like this. check out our formation from the back here. I mean, that's a pretty sick formation. Could you imagine just seeing... And just think they had formations that were, you know... how many ships is this? 7? I mean, they had formations that were hundreds and hundreds of ships in World War II. Just made up of destroyers, battleships, transport ships, medical ships. And that, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I look at World War with such awe, is because of just like everything that happened in that war and how it was done. I mean, there hasn't been a war since where you've seen, you know, naval combat to any extent that you saw in World War II. I mean, just none. Naval combat nowadays, I think, is non-existent. Everything's done with planes. There is no ship-to-ship combat. I could be wrong, but I don't even know if there is battleships anymore. I could be wrong. Not 100% sure. But yeah, guys, we are completely going to win this game 100% for sure. No doubt about it. And we are going to win it not by the command point limit, but because we're just going to destroy their forces. Alright, we are in range. I'm going to go ahead and turn broadside so I get my back 2 guns going here. Now, the Japanese did have some massive aircraft carriers. There was actually, I want to say before World War II, there was actually a treaty. I think it was a treaty or something like that. There were some guidelines that were made to, you know, the amount of guns you could have on a ship, the size of guns you could have on a ship, how big the ship could be. I don't know why these guidelines were ever made. I don't know why we tried to put rules to war. You know, I mean, you're just trying to make war a game, you know, where we add rules. You can't put this many guns on a ship. But anyways, I believe they actually converted some heavy cruisers or something like that to aircraft carriers. I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say they did. And that's why some of their aircraft carriers actually had a fair amount of guns on them. Alright, so we took out one of their aircraft carriers, so that's 1 out of 3 down. We're about to take out their headquarters. That'll be 2 out of 3 victory conditions down. And then we'll just hit their last aircraft carrier, and it's over. So yeah, guys, we're coming up on 30 minutes. Oh, I guess that was it. We didn't even have to take out the aircraft carrier. Alright, so that was a 30-minute video, guys, of the island capture mode in Skirmish. So we were playing against the computer, and the computer really, honestly, didn't put up any fight whatsoever. It is kind of a gamble when you do play Skirmish in Battlestations Pacific of whether or not the computer is actually going to do anything worth a damn. But they didn't do anything. It was 27 minutes of complete slaughtering, as you can see by the points. But alright, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I will have plenty of more Battlestations videos coming out, along with many other games. Alright, guys, hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.